Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now if you've been watching my channel, you might realize that over the past couple of years I've been trying to really dial in my backpacking kit. And that's everything from just simply cutting down on the amount of gear that I carry, really refining my kit, getting bags that have lighter weight, materials that are more suitable for the backpacking application. And today I have something that's going to continue moving me forward to lighten up my kit and create what I'm hoping is going to be a little bit of a more refined kit. So I'm sure that all of you are familiar with your typical compression sacks and dry bags. Now these are still going to have their place with me. I'm going to need to use compression sacks and dry bags at different points in time. But one of the things that I've done with my backpacking kit is pretty much accepted that in certain cases, not everything's going to go in a stuff sack. I'm going to have to use, call it the crush and stuff method for different things in my bags. Now, as I've moved forward, the particular bag that I'm going to be carrying, at least for the near future, is my Granite Gear Crown 260. That bag is in and of itself pretty much like a dry bag, the way it's set up and has a roll top design. So in reality, I can use that bag with the crush and stuff method to get my stuff pretty well packed in. However, with that said, there are times I know I'm going to still want to subdivide some of the contents inside there. And the solution that I came up with is these nice lightweight mesh bags. These weigh almost nothing. They are completely transparent and see-through, so I can totally identify the contents inside of them. I have a number of different sizes that we're going to take a look at today. And like I said, they weigh almost next to nothing. So I'm not adding much in the way of fabric weight inside my kit, yet at the same time, I get a little bit of the subdivided nature that I'm looking for. So if you think this solution might be something that would work well for you, stay tuned. So all the mesh bags that I bought are by the company Luckstone. Now literally, these bags are purchased basically straight from China. I purchased these actually on eBay, but they took probably just shy of 3 weeks to get to me. And I kind of knew that going into it. But the good news is that I think, for the most part, these are actually really nice quality for the money. And when you look at what I've received, basically I have a small, medium, large, extra large, and double extra large bag. Not only that, but I have two of each. So I have one of each I've already removed from the package to show you, and a whole other set here in the package. And I received literally all of these for less than $20 shipped. So this is not only a very lightweight option, but an extremely affordable option as well. So here you see all the sizes. I have my small, medium, large, extra large, and double extra large. You'll notice that each one of the sizes is sort of a different color, but actually the small and the extra large are both blue. But that's pretty much the way these come. They are pretty much color-coded by size. And overall, I do think these are pretty nice quality. I would like to show you the details so you can see for yourself. But overall, I am very happy with the quality for something that is quite simple. There's not a lot to it. Obviously it's just a mesh bag, but still I think they did a pretty good overall job. So let's show you the details. So I feel like the one that's the easiest to show you is probably the yellow here, basically because you can see on the inside that there is a drawstring. You can see here that the yellow is the size large. So there's the Luckstone tag and then the large tag. And as we get into the details, the actual color part on top is like a ripstop nylon. And then you can see it's double stitched the entire length of the bag. Very uniform and even. And they did a nice job. It's, very well done. There are no stitches out of place. And for something that is so cheap, I'm talking like this literally cost me $1. It's incredible that this can be produced for that price. And for the amount of function that I think I'm going to get out of this, it's pretty cool. So anyway, there is a drawstring. So it's just a little spring actuated keeper. That's what allows you to cinch this tight. You can see the mesh down the side of the bag as we get into the detail. Again, double stitched the entire length, nice and even, no stitches out of place, and it goes right down to the bottom of the bag. And when you get to the bottom of the bag, again, nicely done, well stitched, no stitches or threads out of place, very even. And the mesh itself seems to be a pretty nice and reasonably durable quality. Now, I haven't really used these quite yet, and I haven't really stressed the material, but at an initial glimpse and by the feel of it, it does feel to be a nice, durable quality mesh, kind of like a heavy-duty no-seam mesh that you would get on a tent or maybe a hammock system or something like that. So it's kind of a coarse mesh. It has a decent sized hole in it, but then again, the gauge of the actual fabric and the actual individual thread seems to be pretty reasonable. So overall, these do seem to be very well manufactured with overall very nice components and fabrics. Now again, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to have my place for stuff sacks and compression sacks and things like that. I mean, there's no getting around it. I'm still going to need these types of products. However, if I'm in a situation where either I don't need the compression or I know I'm not going to be in too much in the way of moisture, being able to cut down on the fabric weight is going to be kind of nice. So when you look here, really these are roughly the same size bag. In terms of liters, they're probably just about the same. I don't see them being too far off. And even at that, just for the example, I will match it up against maybe the extra large, which you can see the extra large is bigger. So I'm going to say that this particular compression sack is roughly the same size as the large mesh bag. So what I'm going to do is, if you're an ounce counter, and for me, I mean, I'm not the biggest ounce counter, but I can tell you I'm kind of starting to get there, because now I'm starting to understand the value of cutting down when you can. So let's just weigh, for example, this compression sack. Putting it on my scale here, 4.1 ounces. So still pretty light, basically a quarter of a pound just for the sack. So 4.1 ounces, but the mesh bag, getting it on there. Let's get it inside. 0.8. So again, if you are an ounce counter, this would be a nice way to start really cutting down on weight. And then the other benefit is that you can really see what's on the inside. So if you have contents that you want to be able to identify, this works very well. So even though this is a very cheap and minimal item, it also has a lot of benefit where you're able to really get some good utility out of it, cut down on some weight in your kit, and see the contents inside the bag. So for me, having the ability to subdivide the contents of my bag without gaining a lot of fabric weight is definitely a bonus. Now just real quick, trying to be just a little bit complete here. This is a dry bag, so I'm just going to put the dry bag in here. Now obviously this is a much lighter weight fabric than the other stuff sack I had, but it's still 1.3 ounces. So the mesh bag, I'm not going to say it's half the weight, but you lose probably, I'd say, another third of the weight. So, you know, this isn't an overly heavy bag, and you do get the benefit of this being a dry bag. So as I mentioned, I am not necessarily going to go without these. When I need a dry bag, I need it. And it's nice to have the ultralight dry bags as well. So Anyway, like I said, just trying to be complete and show you another comparison on how these mesh bags can potentially help you shed a little bit of weight. Now, to give you an example of something that would fit in these mesh bags, I have here my Sea to Summit Micro 3, my sleeping bag. This is an 850 loft down, so overall pretty bulky. Certainly not heavy, reasonably lightweight. And something that for me would be really perfect to put in one of these mesh bags, where I just kind of want to keep it in the bottom of my pack, sort of separate from other things so that everything doesn't get kind of tangled in here. Just adds a little bit of protection for this. And I think overall it should fit in the large size bag. So again, I have the large, the extra large, and the double extra large. So I think this would likely hold this. So I'm just going to stuff this in here real quick and give you an idea about the size and what the, say, large bag can hold in terms of capacity. All right, so there you go. You know, something about these down sleeping bags. Obviously, you realize that these can be compressed down very, very tight and very small. In reality, I can get this down to less than half the size of this, but I don't necessarily always like that. Sometimes I like to have the pliability that you get in the bottom of your bag when you don't completely compress it all the way. And this size will be pretty nice to go down into the bottom of the bag. Again, just keeping it just a little bit protected, but also subdivided away from some of the rest of the gear. And you probably also realize that sometimes it's difficult to get a bulky item like this, or a down item, stuffed into a smaller compression sack. You know, a lot of times you really have to work to get the sleeping bag down inside that smaller compression sack. And so it's nice to have something that's not quite that small, gives you the ability to, again, manage it, yet not completely squash it down and struggle with it. So it's very easy overall to get a long sleeping bag with a high loft inside this sack without any struggle, and I'm able to manage it quite well. Now, just another quick example, here is the medium bag, and I have my down jacket. So I'm just going to take this and work it into here. So again, just another item that maybe I want to have a little bit of protection for the actual garment, or maybe I just don't want this getting kind of commingled with the rest of my things, and I just want to have a little bit of subdivision inside my bag. I could certainly get this much, much smaller, but it fits in here pretty well. And so again, that's just an example of the size of the medium sack. So just showing you the difference between the medium and the large to give you an understanding of the overall size and capacity. So all right guys, there you have it. A real quick look at a nice, cheap, very affordable and lightweight option that's a little bit different than your traditional stuff sacks. So for me, like I said, overall, I'm just looking to continue to pay attention to what I'm putting in my bag, really pay attention to some of the details, cutting back on weight when I can, and really for me, if I can cut back on some fabric weight and on some of the things that I don't need to carry, I'll either A, have a better overall experience by having a lighter pack, or B, actually free up some space and some weight for other items that I may want in terms of extra little luxuries, or maybe a case-specific piece of gear that I need for one particular trip or another. So by paying attention to the details, continuing to lose some additional weight in these fabrics, I'm moving in the right direction to getting myself that refined pack that I'm looking for. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.